Oh, yeah. Last night I was at the library, and I thought that you would have my sons speak to me, but you decided that you would refuse to acknowledge their rights, their right to due process. Well, I decided I better find out how it is that I'm going to convince you, yes, that you can't issue dissolutions of marriage where the respondent doesn't get any due process. You can't violate the due process rights of students, and you can't issue protection orders where there's forgery and fraud. Now, the crime is bad enough that probably the employees that were there at that time were not the actual employees. That means you're using the courts without the actual employees of the courts being the employees of the court. Now, you're going to get prosecuted, and I'm absolutely sure that any employee of this nation right now, if they ever use any sort of favoritism, yes, I will put them in prison. You're going to do exactly what the law says. You're going to enforce the laws, and I'm going to sue you and take all your assets. Now, this idea of thought and visualization, I've sent over 3 million emails. Well, I found out about my self-help resources for the self-represented litigant. Yes, this is how I can help myself. See, this morning, yes, I was thinking about self-help. What I plan to do, yes, is to lift weights for an hour a day, 6 days a week. Oh, how I help myself is I am in control of what I do and what I think. Oh, now it's very easy to understand that you need to self-help yourself today. Now, as the indigent, yes, homeless, pauper, yes, that you've accused of crimes when you did know I wasn't in those cities, yes, and then your abuse of the judicial system. I'm that self-help today. Now, since you wouldn't help yourselves because you just couldn't admit that you had committed a crime, yeah, I'm going to self-help myself. Now, the nice part is this little self-help resources for the self-represented litigant. Yes, the Latin terms pro se means for self, and pro per means for one's own purpose. They are used in the legal profession to identify people, yes, who represent themselves. Today I'm representing myself. Now, I need to help myself. Isn't that right? I need to pull myself up by the bootstraps. I need to get out there and get going. I need to get a fucking job. You need to help yourself today. What you need to do is enforce the laws. You need to give me my kidnapped sons. Yes. You need to allow me to speak to Marilyn about how she wants to help herself. Yeah. And we need to help ourselves. Yes. Yes, yes. Now, the people who represent themselves in court proceedings, when you filed a protection order in 2011 where the petitioner was pro se, she wasn't ex parte because I was arrested on Guam. Yeah. She represented herself. Now, you didn't obligate her to have to serve me before issuing a protection order. You issued it without me being a resident of the state of Washington. You kidnapped my sons, yes. And then for the last 8 years, you just sat there saying, well, not my problem. It is your problem. Now I'm going to help myself today. And my suggestion to you is you need to use a little self help today. Now, I've informed law enforcement, yes, that I was not given any due process in 2015. November 15th of 2015. I told you, yes, The petitioner didn't sign it, and it is a requirement of law that the petitioner appear in court for the issuance of any permanent protection order. You cannot use fraudulent statements that you say that the respondent received actual notice of court hearings when I didn't. You can't serve me in a library because the individual that served me, yes, was not law enforcement. And even law enforcement can't serve a court order in a library where they involve all the other patrons. You have to wait until I leave the fucking library.